Okay, shalom, shalom, it's brother Kadash. I want to start off by giving our praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Bahashim Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace, blessings, and honors to all the brothers in this truth. This is a little post that I've seen on my page. So every now and then, I see these posts and it'd be interesting, because it's kind of like, things that's going on in the world and what people are thinking about and talking about, especially, when you got a lot of different comments and people coming in sharing their opinion. So every now and then, I'll take it and make a video of it to share a biblical opinion of these things, right? So it says he's 41, I'm 21, and a lot of people in the comments were saying, "Look, this is weird. He was 20 when she was born," which makes no sense because people act like things stay the same and change time. Look, at the end of the day, if he was 20, here, let me try to get my words together. If he was 20 while she was 0, that doesn't matter because he didn't marry her or get with her during that time. So that's bullshit. You see what I'm saying? But if he's 41 and he takes 21, that's pretty normal. And I'm gonna tell you how. Because most women, anyways, want a man that's older than them. Majority, now there's women out there, that's not of the norm, but most women want men and date men that's older than them. They're saying it's weird because he's so much older than her. But that's the whole point of it. A woman will be under her father, right? Until she found a husband, and then she would be under her husband. So she would want to get a man that was well off, that could afford, that could take care of things. Um, right, pretty much around, and it was way earlier than this. So we're gonna get into the Bible to bring out some scriptures. Not when she was really 21, but I mean like at the age 12, really. A woman would go to a man, and he'd probably be close or somewhere in his 30s, and she would be his wife. And therefore, that would give her the foundation and stuff to grow and stuff like that. But she would be getting trained under her father at home already how to be a wife and serving to her husband. And those were during the times, where things were good for us as a people. Now that we have the whole feminine movement and all that stuff to this day, things are bad. A woman or one of 4 women, they say, won't get married, or women are dying alone. That's a whole big thing right now. Women are angry. Women don't have protection. And then you see when something happens like a pandemic, all these women start bugging out because they don't have men. That's why you have scriptures like Isaiah 4:1. 7 women going to take hold of 1 man when the times get harder. So no, this is not weird. This is regular. It's just when people think of things from a westernized world, you go off. You're thinking of everything from a westernized world. If you go over there to Saudi Arabia, or if you even go to China, most women are married before they're in their 30s. You're considered a failure as a woman if you're not married before you're in your 30s. And they're getting married to men that's way older than them. The princes over there in Saudi Arabia, they take women around the age 14, 15. And these men be 50, 40s when they're taking their women to be wives. And nobody look at it like it's weird or anything. It's just normal. I did a video on that a while back ago. You can check it out. It's on my page. But let's get it from the scriptures, right? Because everybody got opinions, And these opinions are based off this Western world, but it has not benefited our people in any type of way. The women wanted equality. They wanted to do all the things that man could do. Then when they were allowed to do all the things that man could do, then they said, look, we don't want to do this. This is Genesis chapter 17, verse 17. It says, then Abraham fell on his face and laughed and said in his heart, shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah that is 90 years old bear? So Abraham and his wife were trying to have children at 100 years old, and his wife was 90 years old, making him 10 years older than her. So if we take, that dumb thought, the westernized thought, well, hey, Abraham was 10 years old when Sarah wasn't even born. Like, how does that even make any sense? How does that even matter? But anyways, and a person would even say, look, trying to have kids at 100 years old, that's foolish. That's weird. But that's how things were done during these times. Men were able to have, and with this example, they were able to have a child at 100 years old, and Sarah being 90 years old, and he was 10 years older than her. Now the Bible don't really give a lot of um detail on people ages all the time. It doesn't map out he was this old when this happened, he was that old when this happened. It doesn't really map it out. So you kind of got to go do some digging. So that's exactly what we're going to do. You kind of got to go doing some digging to kind of figure out, okay, what age were they around? And we're going to try to find out how old was Mary. You guys call her Mary the Virgin. How old was Mary when Joseph the carpenter, when they married and had our Lord, Yahweh Shai. How old were they? So this is Deuteronomy 22, starting at verse 20. Let's start at verse 23. It says, if a damsel that is a virgin be betrothed into a husband, and a man find her in the city and lie with her. So it says, if a man, first of all, it's not putting no stipulations on it. The man has to be 5 years older than her. The man has to only be 10 years older than her. The man has to be around her age. It says a man. But a damsel, we gonna get into a damsel's age. But it says, if a damsel that is a virgin, meaning the word damsel and virgin is interchangeable. A damsel is a virgin. A virgin is a damsel. Now today we say virgin as speaking of a person that never had sex, but the word virgin doesn't mean a person that doesn't have sex in the Bible, in the Hebrew. So that's why we got to kind of go through this and break this down. It says, if a damsel that is a virgin be betrothed into an husband, and a man find her in a city and lie with her, so he's found her and has sex with the young damsel, right? Then he shall bring them both into the gate of the city, and he shall stone them with stones that they die, if the damsel, because she cried not. Meaning, if he lie down with her and she cries not, but she was already betrothed. Look, if a damsel that is a virgin be betrothed to a husband, so if she already supposed to be set up to be given to a man to be one of his wives, but somebody else go sleep with her, then that's adultery, because he's sleeping with another man's wife, even if she's just betrothed to be the man's wife. And if she cried not, then they both should be stoned, because it says be in the city, and the man, because he has humbled his neighbor's wife, because he committed adultery. So we're not really trying to go into that, but the point is that a damsel that is a virgin betrothed into a husband. So let's figure out how old would a actual damsel be considered, right? So here, let's jump here first to go more into Mary. This is Luke chapter 1, verse 27. It says, to a virgin. See, so there you go again. But in Deuteronomy 22 verse 23, we see that a damsel is a virgin. A virgin is a damsel. It's interchangeable. So to a virgin, or you could say a damsel, a spouse to a man whose name was Joseph, of the house of David, and the virgin name was Mary. So just like the same thing, she's supposed to be a spouse to Joseph. The same thing in Deuteronomy, a virgin, which is a damsel. Okay, so then let's go to this. So you kind of got to break it down like this, because the Bible it's not going to tell you person's age exactly when this event happened or when that event happened for us to go. But it did in Genesis chapter 17 verses 17 with Abraham and Sarah. So then when you go to Mark chapter 5, go down to verse 42, it says, and straightway the damsel arose and walked, for she was of the age of 20 years, and they were astonished with a great astonishment. So it says the damsel, right? And it says, for she was the age. So now we kind of breaking it down to figure out that age. It says, and she was the age of 12 years old. So a damsel and a virgin, interchangeable, is talking about a woman, a very young woman around the age of like 12 years old. And then when you get to that, when you go back to Luke and you see that verse 27, a virgin espoused to a man named Joseph of the house of David, the virgin name was Mary, then we could kind of put two and two together and say, look, she was a young damsel, she was a virgin, which means that she would have been around the age 12 years old. So we kind of trying to just break down the age of Mary. So then we got to kind of like try to break down the age of Joseph. which is not going to give you that. But one of the things that hint to his age is Matthew chapter 1, right? Verse 19. It says, then Joseph, her husband, talking about Mary's husband, being a just man and not willing to make her a public example, was minded to put her away privily. But the thing is, it says being a just man. So we know in this whole thing of Israel, just man, this is an old man sport. Meaning you get your credentials, you get your respect with experience, with time, with wisdom. You know, the book of Proverbs will tell you that. So to be considered a just man, it would mean that you a upright man in the Lord's eyes, meaning you follow the Lord, meaning you follow his law, statutes, and commandments. You know, you have that wisdom and that knowledge to do that, which could lead us to saying that, look, Mary would have been around 12 years old, and Joseph, being a just man and being considered a just man, even amongst his peers, probably was a lot older in age. Now, does it give us his exact age? Could we sit here and guess? Maybe he was in his 30s. Some sources say he was way older than that, but we don't have to do that. All we could say is, look, he would have been a lot older man to be considered a just man. You know, just putting things together. You can accept it or not accept it, but this is the breakdown. But the point is that he would have probably been 20, 30 years older than her while she was only 12 years old. And people will say, people today will say that that's weird. They say a 12-year-old getting married, being betrothed, a 12-year-old having a child by a man. He's out his mind. If he was a just man, why would he get a 12-year-old? Because we already then broke it down that Mary would have been around the age 12 years old. But the point is that a lot of people would think that that's weird. But no, that's how things are done. And these things were done, these things benefited the community more than the way that we're living today benefits the community. Everybody's going their own way. Everybody got their own way of thinking. Everybody's all out of order. See, that's the problem with our people. We don't have no order. We're not together. We're so divided. That's why we have no power. And that's why you see us at the bottom in here in America. We're literally at the bottom. You know, because everybody's going off what they think. Now, hold that right there. And let me break down more of the definition behind the word virgin, because some people will disagree and say, no, that's not what virgin mean. Okay, well, let's break it down. Hold this right here. Okay, this is on the Bible Blue Letter. Going back to Luke 1:27, it says to a virgin, a spouse, same thing, right? But the difference is you could go to the right here where, let me scroll up, where it says Strong's, right? So I got that box checked. And this is a good tool to help you break down what the words actually mean rather than going off what you've been taught. So it says Luke 21 and 27, which is exactly what we read. To a virgin, a spouse, talking about Mary. But then we could click on the Strong's, right, of what it says, a virgin. Then we could go down to, it could pronounce it, and it goes into the Hebrew, and it tells you what the word is in the lexicon. And you could go down to the Strong's. So show Strong's info. Then it says Strong's definitions. And it says of unknown origin, a maiden, which is just going back into a young woman. Implications, an unmarried daughter. So that's what it's talking about. She wasn't married yet with Joseph. So, and she was a young maiden. She was a young woman, a damsel. Same thing. It means the same thing, right? So here, let me jump back. So it's just more proof just to show you that, look, when Abraham took Sarah as a wife, he was 10 years older than her, and they were close to their hundreds. Well, not when I'm sorry, let me correct that. Not when he took her as a wife, but when they were trying to have a child, and they were closer to their hundreds when they were trying to have a child. Salaki about that. And then when Mary and Joseph was having a child, the point is that Joseph was way older than Mary, you know, and it's a lot of examples, more examples, but you kind of got to break it down in pieces to figure out their age. But King Solomon, King David, King Solomon at old age, when he got older and older at age, he still had wives. You think all his wives were around his age, or 10 years, or only 10 years younger than him? So King Solomon had 700 wives, 300 concubines. You think they all was at least within 5 years of age or 10 years of age of him? No, man, of course not. That's foolish. Of course he had a young woman too that was coming into it. Same thing with King David, you know? Same thing with King Saul. So I mean, it's just you got to put two and two together. Hopefully, this has been edifying. It's kind of I know it's kind of weird because you kind of got to break it down piece by piece like that just to figure out the definition of the word. But that's I mean that's just what you got to do. So I'm gonna say salvation to the elect, Shalom.